Hey everyone, Tony D with a hot take on, I guess you can call this on medical stuff. I am not a doctor. So I don't know if you've been following the latest on this coronavirus. It's not good, but don't panic. We still live in America, and for the most part, we got it pretty good here when it comes to medical stuff. We got top-notch guys, so if this is the end, we have the best chance of surviving here. So keep your head about you. The latest, I don't know if you've seen any of the footage coming out of China. It's pretty crazy. You've got, hospitals just literally stacked to the gills. So imagine you're standing in, this is the one video I saw, you're standing in a hospital corridor at an intersection, and you look three ways, those big wide hospital corridors, and each one, as far as you can see, is just packed with people. That's what's going on in China right now. They're all wearing masks. I assume they're all sick because they're at the hospital. So, that doesn't bode well, because even if you're sick, you may not have the coronavirus, and then you go to the hospital to see if you have the coronavirus, and then you are crammed in with a bunch of people, some of which probably have it, and that just makes the whole thing spread even faster, right? Because they're saying now that the virus is probably airborne. They're not totally sure of anything at this point, other than it is very transmittable. It takes about 2 weeks to incubate. So during that 2 weeks, leading up to that, you pretty much look fine. But then you get like flu-like symptoms, and it sort of goes downhill from there. Now, the survival rate is very high, especially if you're getting treatment. You're talking, most people survive. It's going to be, if you're elderly, or if you got very young kids, you've got to be very wary. I mean, people are bad when they're sick. I know of a place where people just come to work sick. They don't care. They just come to work sick, and they just touch everything, and and they may be considerate washing their hands and everything, and it may be that they really need the money and they have to come to work, but really they're just making the situation worse in terms of flu season or the coronavirus or anything. So you can't really trust that when you're out in public that things are going to be clean. You have to wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Try not to touch your face unless you just washed your hands, and then you can. Don't share drinks or anything like that. If you're going to the airport, man, you're just asking for it. I know some people who just went to the airport, and I was just like, I hope nothing happens. Because, any public place where people are coming and going, it increases the chances that somebody's going to have this virus and is spreading it around. May not even know it. The interesting thing about the coronavirus in particular is that there is a report out that says it may have come from eating wild animals, specifically bats. Apparently, eating bat in China is some sort of delicacy, and it just sounds horrific because they cook it like a lobster. So imagine putting a live bat into a vat of boiling water or oil and, cooking it to death and then eating it, and not even, I've seen the pictures. They don't even it's still covered in fur. It's gross. I don't know who would eat this thing. It doesn't even look like bats have a lot of meat on them. So there's no way I'd eat a bat. I like crazy foods in general, but bats just don't look appetizing. They just don't look like they have enough meat on them to even be worth the trouble. And they are, like, certain animals just carry a lot of disease. Bats are one of them. So it's not surprising that you could get something from eating a bat. And so that's the top rumor. or top theory of how this virus may have started. Now, some people contend that because the Chinese government has a biological testing lab there where they're working with all sorts of deadly diseases, maybe one of the diseases escaped the lab. It's possible. I don't think it's as probable as the bat thing. The bat thing sounds very probable to me. It could just be a virus just developed, it's just dirty conditions and somebody got sick and it just mutated. I mean, that's what happens with viruses. So anyhow, you want to just chill out and take precautions and just, keep washing those hands. Keep washing your hands and don't touch your face or eyes. And hopefully this will all pass and it'll be less than SARS. Now, they're saying that its rate is on par with the epidemic. What was it called? The Spanish flu. They say it's on par with that, but and that China did seal off Wuhan, which is one of their big cities, something like 10 million people, and but the thing is, that can make the situation worse as people freak out. They're all trapped together, so then more people get infected that maybe would have all in the same area. And then as things become more desperate, people just sneak out anyway. There's a report that a group of rich people decided to fly out of China to go to a Michelin restaurant, and they bucked the quarantine because they're rich, right? And they threw some money around, and boom, they're on a plane heading to their favorite restaurant to germ it all up. I'm a bit of a germaphobe myself, so I try to keep washing my hands, and I'm usually pretty paranoid when somebody comes up to me, starts coughing, and, I'm sick. Like, stay the hell away from me. That's my attitude. Like, you just stay over there. Keep your distance if you're sick from me. I've dated girls who are like, but you can kiss me. It's no big deal if we get sick together. No, it's a big deal. I don't want to be sick. I don't have to be sick. If you're sick, I'm not going to kiss you. So no. And I wouldn't expect you to kiss me. If I'm sick, don't kiss me. Don't purposely infect yourself, dummy. And there's some other weird medical news that's coming out right at the same time that I just read. One is that, and stories like this come out every once in a while, but this one sounds semi-credible, that some British scientists may have stumbled upon a cure for cancer. They stumbled upon a new set of T cells that actually fight cancer purely by accident, which sounds to me slightly more believable than a lot of the other cancer cures, because it's by accident. That kind of makes sense, because eventually, they do all this research and they try and try and try, and then eventually they just stumble upon the answer, right? So that's it. That would be interesting, right? Like a pandemic ravages the world, and at the same time we cure cancer, right? And, so imagine you're a cancer patient and you get cured finally, and then you walk out and you get swept up in the pandemic and die from that. That would be terrible. And the other interesting bit of news is Adam Schiff, right? Yeah, everything's about impeachment, right? Adam Schiff, the representative who's going on and on about impeachment, is actually being sued by a doctors group, I forget what it's called, because he lobbied Google, Facebook, and Instagram, and I think one other platform, to take down information about vaccines. Now, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. Let me just state that right up front. I'm totally all about vaccines. I'm a little wary of them, but who wouldn't be? But I'm in no way an anti-vaxxer. So just let me state that right up front. I didn't get a flu shot. I just generally don't get them. I just generally don't get sick that much. I feel like I don't need them. It's kind of a waste, don't get something you don't need kind of thing. So it's not that I'm anti-vax. I just, I'm not I'm not at that age. Maybe once I'm over 55, maybe I'll start getting one. I don't know. But I've survived this long without one. I figured, meh. But apparently, Adam Schiff, lobbied to have the negative stuff about vaccines removed. But this wasn't like negative, like crazy anti-vaxxer stuff. This was like the normal warnings for vaccines. And there are some warnings, but they're very minor, and the chances of something happening are very slight. So, you have to weigh that against a pandemic that could kill people, as opposed to, unfortunately, the one or two people who might be adversely affected by a vaccine. Anyhow, Adam Schiff shouldn't be forcing these companies to take down that information. More information is better, especially if it's accurate information. Obviously, if it was inaccurate information, he might have a leg to stand on. But this was accurate scientific information, not anti-vaxxer stuff, that he was urging these platforms take down. So just another example of Adam Schiff doing what he does best, butting in where no one asked him to. And today, now I'm going to slide into political stuff, right? And today, apparently or it was last night, I guess, made this comment about that Republicans were saying that they're going to have if they don't get rid of Trump, somebody's going to have their head on a pike or something. I mean, it was like it was such an obvious comment that was made up that people in the gallery while he was giving the speech were like, "Oh, come on." So that's where we're at in terms of that kind of stuff, where you could just make up anonymous sources and say anything you want, right? So anyhow, my advice to you, my fans, is stay safe, wash them hands, and just if you don't have to go anywhere, don't go anywhere. Just be safe. Use common sense. Use common sense. How about that? Thank you.